as Electricity Minister Dr. Kgosientsho Ramokgopa embarks on a week-long inspection of South Africa's power stations. Good news is that the National Energy Regulator, Nersa for short, has revised its tariff hike for 2023-2024 from the approved 18.65% to 10% for low-income households. A senior economic and financial analyst at Nersa is Dr. Bongani Khonjelwayo, and he joins us now for a discussion on this. Dr. Khonjelwayo, thank you very much for your time. All right, so 18.65%, that has now been revised down to 10% for low-income households. So in rand terms, where do we stand? How much are these households going to pay?
Good morning, Toli, and good morning to your viewers. So as you might recall, on the 12th of January this year, the Energy Regulator approved an increase of 18.65 for Eskom's revenues for the 2023-24 financial year. So on the 10th of March, the regulator made a decision that for low-income households, their increase would be 10%. So this decision is based on the fact that the increase would be severe for these customers. So in terms of the decision, the regulator approved increases of 18.65 for customers that are supplied by Eskom directly, and they also approved an increase of 18.49 for municipalities. As you might recall, municipalities also buy from Eskom, but they are effective financial years from the 1st of July of each year. So the regulator will still make a decision around it. But in terms of the low-income customers, yes, from the 1st of April, they will only see an increase of 10%. Only just to emphasize that this only relates to customers that are directly supplied by Eskom.
Yeah.
So yes. So in South Africa, we have about 176 distributors, which are mainly municipalities. They will also have to come to Nersa for their own annual price increases, and they, based on their financial conditions and situation, will have to motivate to apply a lower increase for their own poor customers as well.
Yeah. All right. So for those households who are not struggling, or should we say for those middle-class households, is that 18.65% going to apply starting 1st April?
Yes, Corey. So for all other customers, including your sort of middle income and upper income residential customers, they will see an increase of 18.65 from the 1st of April. But Corey, just to also sort of clarify, to say that this 10% increase is actually across subsidy. So what it means is that there are customers which are referred to as even large customers, which include your manufacturing plants, your mines, your commercial customers. They are the ones that are providing a subsidy to these customers. Mm-hmm. So this subsidy has been in place since 2013. So effectively, these customers would, on average, spend about between 250 rand to 300 rand a month for electricity. But because of the subsidy, they would actually see a lower increase. So the subsidy is around 30 to 40% of the monthly bill for these customers.
All right. So for commercial customers, they are going to be the ones, I suppose, that benefit most from this revised down figure to 10%, because they are the people that subsidize the poorest of the poor. Am I understanding you correctly?
Not exactly. So they are the ones that are paying this subsidy. So effectively, their increase will be around 19.09%. But because these customers consume large volumes of electricity, they would actually not really feel the increase, because their average price. So the regulator approved an average price increase of 173 cents for 23-24. But for these customers, because they consume huge amounts of electricity, their average price is around R1.62 before they pay a subsidy. So for each kilowatt hour that they consume, they contribute around 7 cents for this subsidy. So their price increase will be much higher, but because they consume high volumes of electricity, the average price is quite lower than your standard customer.
Yeah. Subsidy or not, Dr. Khonjelwayo, the view out there, particularly from the business community, is that this particular increase is going to have a very severe impact because the cost of producing goods, it is now going to be the poor people, whether it's poor people or whether it's a middle income households, they are going to feel it because the cost of manufacturing those goods is now going to be passed on. So the impact here, whether or not there is a subsidy, is going to be felt nonetheless. Are there ways to try and absorb this?
Yes, it's quite true that the impact will be felt. But if you recall, what Eskom applied for in the 23-24 financial year would have led to a 32% increase for all customers. So after the regulator did an assessment of this increase, we came to an increase of about 18.65%. It's the same with the 2024-25 financial year, where Eskom would have applied for a 22% increase, and we only approved a 12% increase. So in a way, taking into account a number of factors, including the economic impact of this increase, the regulator has tried to sort of provide some cushion to customers. Additionally, every year Eskom would come to the regulator, for instance, if they had overspent on certain expenditures, for instance, on coal, and would make a decision on that. So that process is called the regulatory clearing account. So the regulator then took a decision that all the variances arising out of this RCA account would be spread over a longer period, and specifically for this financial year, there were no additional revenues that were passed on to customers from this account. So those are the measures that the regulator put into place to try and sort of cushion this impact on consumers, taking into account the need to balance both the interest of consumers as well as the sustainability of the utility, Eskom.
Dr. Bongani, Khonjelwayo, let's leave the conversation there. Thank you very much for that explanation. And that 18.65%, that tariff increase, it comes into effect on the 1st of April. And so, yeah, that's where we are right now.